Hello everyone, and I have some great news because I am getting ready to watch for the first time ever the new Paw Patrol Mighty movie. Now, as of now, I haven't seen it yet, and this is a review of the Paw Patrol Mighty movie, but I thought I would start it off by saying I finally have a chance to see it, but I haven't seen it yet. I thought that'd be something interesting to do because I haven't done that in the other movie reviews that I've done, so I thought I'd do that this time. So I'll be giving you my review of it in just a minute. Okay, so I have finally seen the new Paw Patrol movie. Finally. And I must say, it was pretty good. I kind of have a few mixed opinions about it, but I'll get into that in just a minute. Let me first tell you what it's about in case you haven't seen it yet. Okay, so just like with the first movie, it begins with these characters, or that is, in the first movie, it begins with this new character that we've never seen before getting into trouble. And I've talked about, of course, that in my review when I reviewed the first Paw Patrol movie. And if you haven't seen that video yet, I recommend go check that out. Plus, some edits I've made of the Paw Patrol. I've made a short edit and a regular edit of the Paw Patrol. But anyway, so just like in the first movie, we see a character, or in the second movie, that is, this time we see two characters that we've never seen before get into trouble, which I guess they're husband and wife, I guess. They run this junkyard, and someone calls them, and they go inside, and this person ends up locking them inside and stealing this, magnet crane thing that they have. And the place even ends up on fire, and it's pretty drastic. It's pretty traumatic, that scene with the fire and all. And I must say, it was pretty. I think it was probably one of the most serious rescues that the Paw Patrol has ever done. So the Paw Patrol comes to put out the fire, and it's really interesting because Sky's helicopter has this thing on it to where she could scoop up water, and she's able to clear a path inside, and Marshall's able to put out some of the fire, but oddly enough, he runs out of water, and I'm like, you're the fire pup, how do you run out of water? But Sky was able to put it out. But I really don't understand how come Marshall, who's the fire pup, runs out of water. I mean, no offense to him, but I just don't really know how that could happen. But anyway, so Sky finishes putting out the fire, and Rocky frees the people because who had called them and took their magnet crane thing had locked them inside of their trailer. And so after that, we finally truly get to meet the villain, who, her name's Victoria. I forget her last name, but I think it also starts with a V. But I think they also call this lady V as well. But she's a mad scientist, but she doesn't like to admit it. But she doesn't really look to me like the sciencey type. She kind of looks more like a rock and roll singer to me. I guess you might say she's like a modern day mad scientist, I suppose, because her hair does look like a mad science, it, the kind of hair a mad scientist would have. Let's say that. Her hair does look like that, so at least she's got the hair for it. And she is, well, mad. So she takes that magnet crane thing that those people owned, so she could pull this meteor to Earth. And it doesn't go well because her machine doesn't have enough power, and she even made a video of it, and I guess she posted it, or maybe it was live. I guess it might have been live because it doesn't end up well, and I doubt she would have posted it if it didn't go well. Plus, I make videos a lot, so I know that there's a lot to making videos, so yeah, I'm just guessing she did it live, but I'll get more into that in just a second. Well, because you'll see what I mean in just a second. So the meteor comes to Earth, but she lost control of it because her machine didn't have enough power. So the meteor is coming to Earth, and the pups, including Liberty, are going to watch a meteor shower because the meteors were supposed to, you could see a meteor shower, but apparently things don't go quite like people had expected. And again, I'll get to that in just a second. And so, while the pups are getting ready to watch the meteor shower, we get to meet three other new characters who are apparently even younger than the Paw Patrol. And it's actually weird that Ryder said that these three, I think they're I don't know if I'm gonna pronounce this right, but they're these little poofy dogs. I think they're called, again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but they're called Pomeranians. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I think I got the first part right, but anyway, they're these tiny little poofy dogs, and it's actually, again, weird that Ryder said that when they grow up they want to join the Paw Patrol, but yet a few seconds before, Ryder points out that Chase is growing out of his super outfit, his outfit, and he says a few seconds later that these pups want to join the Paw Patrol when they're full grown, when they grow up instead of when they're just a little bit older. And I really don't understand that because clearly the Paw Patrol, they're not full grown yet. And I don't know if they'll ever make anything showing them when they are full grown. I kind of hope not, but we'll see. But yeah, I just don't really understand why Ryder said that when none of the pups are grown up themselves. In fact, he's not even grown up yet, so I don't know what the deal is there. Plus, it seems like kids and dogs do have a lot of authority. Uh, once kids reach a certain age, like 10 or something, they can live by themselves, which is crazy when you think about it. But anyway, so yeah, these three little pups, who are apparently younger than the Paw Patrol, want to join the Paw Patrol, so Ryder is going to let them train. And I'll get more into that later because we get to see their actual training later. And so the meteor that V was pulling to Earth starts coming into view, and they realize that it's coming towards them, and they have to get out of their new lookout tower in the city. So they warn the people about the meteor that's about to hit the city, and they get everyone to safety. And there's this one part where the meteor almost hits Sky, and Ryder quickly pulls her away. He quickly saves her life, thankfully. And unlike in the other Mighty Pups movie, the meteor doesn't like zap them like it did in that, but it does seem to give off some kind of energy or something, so they take it to their, I don't think it's the Sea Patrol, it's some kind of boat kind of thing that they have. And since their new lookout tower is destroyed, I wonder when they're gonna fix it, because there is rumor of a third movie, and they actually never show them in that lookout tower again. So they don't end up fixing it, apparently, getting it fixed. So I guess we'll see that in the third movie. Or maybe in an episode in the series. So once they get it back to their boat thing, I don't know what they call it, but anyway, so they take it back there to keep it safe and try to find out what it's made of. And so the pups all go to bed, and then the meteor starts glowing, and the glow of the meteor wakes up Sky, so she goes to check it out, and just like we see in the trailer, she touches it, and it cracks open. And unlike we see in the trailer, though, she actually touches one of the crystals, and this part is so cool because when she touches it, you can see her fur standing up, and you can like tell that the power of the crystal is like going through her. It's not as creepy as it sounds. It's actually really cool. The animation is so cool. And that's when Sky first starts to get her superpowers. And then after that is when the meteor attaches to her pup tag. And then she bursts into the room where all the other pups are, waking them up and even waking up Ryder. And then they see that she has superpowers. And then they all get superpowers. And I think I might do a video where I compare the first, the TV special Mighty Pups and this movie, because they oddly enough are kind of similar, and I kind of don't know why the pups didn't realize. Okay, meteor, superpowers, is it just me or has this happened before? So yeah, I don't know why they didn't mention that, because that has happened before. But anyway, so yeah, the pups pretty much get the same powers, except Rubble doesn't get super strength like he did in that. He actually becomes a wrecking ball. And in this movie, Sky's the one that gets super strength, and she can fly. But unlike in the Mighty Pups, the first Mighty Pups TV special, this whirlwind doesn't appear under her. She can just fly without the whirlwind or the wings. She just flies, and she has super strength. And of course, Chase yet again has super speed. And unlike before, Rocky doesn't have super building powers or energy tools. He actually is a magnet, and he can actually. There's this one part where he. Actually, I think two parts where he lifts things up with his superpowers. So his are a little different too. And Zuma's, I think Zuma's got the most interesting powers of them all. He not only can shoot water from his paws like before, but he actually becomes water. That is so cool. I think that is just so cool. And there's this one part in the movie where Zuma becomes water and he's like going through this pipe, and it is so cool. It is just so cool that he actually becomes water. That is just so cool. Now, Marshall's powers are really the same, except um in the Mighty Pups, the first Mighty Pups, he could melt things, but in here, he actually can shoot fire from his paws. He can create fireballs and shoot them from his paws, which is pretty interesting. It's, of course, different from in the old Mighty Pups, but still pretty cool. But I still think that Zuma's powers are the coolest because he actually becomes water. That is just so cool. And since they now have superpowers, they not only get new gear, new super outfits, but they also get a new name. Well, technically new because they use the name Mighty Pups again. And the pups go around the city helping out, different people. And meanwhile, it's been revealed. Actually, I think it was actually revealed before this, but the mad scientist Victoria, or V as I think they call her sometimes in the movie, and I think they even call her that in a few of the books, if I'm not mistaken. And the police find out that she's the one that caused the meteor to come to Earth and wreck the Paw Patrol's lookout tower. And, due to her video being out there of her talking about this, that's how the police were able to find her, and that's how she gets arrested. So yeah, since it doesn't go well, I'm guessing that her video was probably live, I'm guessing. But anyway, so they take her to jail and they, for some reason, put her in the same cell as Mayor Humdinger. Now, why they put her in the same cell with a guy, I do not know. But they put her in the same cell with Mayor Humdinger, and Mayor Humdinger and the kittens had worked on escaping, and they make a deal if she gives him a crystal, he'll help her escape. So she agrees, and that's what they do. They escape, and somehow Mayor Humdinger had a plane, and I'm like, how in the world did he afford a plane? But the Paw Patrol, so I'm like, I just go with it. But that is really weird. Who knows? Maybe he had inherited to him or something. But who in their right mind would inherit a plane to Mayor Humdinger? Unless they don't know how dingy he is, which clearly they probably didn't. But that's the only explanation I can think of how in the world he got a plane. But anyway, so Vi and, or Victoria, whatever you want to call her, and Mayor Humdinger and the kittens are in the plane, and her plan is to cause the plane to crash so the Paw Patrol can come rescue them. And so she calls the Paw Patrol, and Skye goes to save them. And when she finds out it's Mayor Humdinger, Vi takes Skye's crystal, and Mayor Humdinger, Vi, and the kittens escape. And the plane is about to crash, and Skye has to safely land it on one of the streets in the city, which the pups are thankfully able to clear. But it's really kind of interesting because when the plane is coming to a stop, or well, when Skye's about to land, when Skye's trying to land it, Chase is actually in the way, and I'm like, you have super speed. Why are you just standing there? I mean, he just sat there in his vehicle as the plane was coming towards him, and the plane, like, once it stops, it, like, pushes his nose in a little bit. And I'm like, Chase, you have super speed. Get out of the way. So yeah, I don't understand that. But anyway, Chase thankfully is okay, and so is Skye. So that's good. And so after that, they start looking for Skye's crystal with their technology in their, I'm just gonna say boat, because I honestly forget what it's called. But I actually have to back up a little bit because we also see Liberty training these three little um new characters. I'm just gonna say that. And she's actually training them pretty hard, and Ryder even mentions something about how she might be training them too hard or something. But it's really weird because Liberty and I think really all the members of the Paw Patrol became members so easily. But anyway, Liberty trains these three pups, and it's actually interesting because Liberty doesn't discover that she has powers until later on, because for a while she thinks that she doesn't have any powers. But it is interesting, members of the Paw Patrol very, very easily. And it's like they had no training or nothing. Ryder just made them a member, and they were members of the Paw Patrol. But we never saw how come Rex became a member, so I don't understand that, but I'll have to talk about that some other time. But anyway, so Liberty is trying to train these pups, which again, it's kind of interesting that she's training them when she didn't get any training herself, or at least we haven't seen that yet. At least I don't think we've seen. I mean, I know we didn't see it in the movie, but I don't think there's any episodes in the series that shows her training. But anyway, so she starts training them, and it's actually really interesting because Liberty thought that she actually didn't get any superpowers. Now she does, but her powers aren't revealed until later. And it's really interesting because these three new characters are watching the Paw Patrol, and the news reporter is just talking about how they have new vehicles, new outfits, and a new name, and it's just, he's just, talking about how great they are. And it's actually really interesting that Liberty didn't show, at least to me, that Liberty didn't show any envy towards the pups since they all got superpowers, but she thought that she didn't. And she even had to watch these three new characters, which she didn't want to do. So I kind of am kind of surprised in a way that she didn't show any envy there, but in a way I'm not surprised because I have never seen any of the pups show envy at all. So I kind of feel like that's not even possible for them to feel that way. But anyway, it was good that she did at least, do her very best to train the pups. Maybe a little too hard, but she did do a good job. So, anyway, while they're looking for Sky's crystal, Ryder tells Sky that she needs to, just like he told Chase, take a break. And just like in the first movie, Ryder kind of hurts Sky, but I think he hurts Chase more than Sky. And it's actually interesting because if I remember right from the first movie, Chase says that Ryder's choice was unfair, and Sky says the exact same thing. So I'm like, okay, Ryder, are you gonna hurt one of the other pups? Whoever the main pup in the next movie's gonna be, and are they gonna say it's unfair? Just come on, what is going on here? Is this something that's gonna happen in all the movies to come? Or at least the third one? Just, oh boy. But again, I do see where Ryder was coming from in both movies. And so, yeah. But anyway, so Sky eventually finds out where her crystal is, and she does something that I did not expect. She takes all the other pups' crystals. She steals their crystals. I'm like, Sky, what are you doing? Just, oh my goodness. Just, what are you doing? But she figures that if she's going to get her crystal back, she needs all the power she can get. Now, she was originally going to tell Ryder about it, but I guess since he kind of hurt her, she decided to go get her crystal herself, which causes her to steal the other pup's crystals, which I cannot believe she did. So she goes to V's hideout and she's trying to get the crystal away from V, but V catches her and ends up locking her away and taking the other crystals. And then V does reveal to Sky that she had felt small her life, during her life too. And there was actually, I'm going to back up just a little bit, there was actually a part where Sky was telling Chase her backstory. And it's pretty interesting because for the first time ever, we actually get to see one of the pup's siblings. And none of Sky's siblings actually talked or really stood out. They were just like background characters, I guess you could say. And oddly enough, she didn't look like any of them. So I guess her parents were like two different colors, I guess. But unlike her siblings, she never got adopted like her siblings did. It's actually interesting because Ryder, for some reason, comes to that farm where she came from, and Sky decides that since an owner wasn't going to come to her, she was going to go to an owner. So she follows Ryder in the snow, and she eventually collapses, and thankfully, I don't know how he came back, but he thankfully found her and took her in, but she actually reveals that he didn't need any other dogs, but he decided to keep her. And other than Rubble, and of course the new members like Tracker Everest, Rex, Wildcat, and Liberty, Sky was the last pup. She In other words, she became a member before Rubble, and then after Rubble was, of course, Everest, and I'm sure you know the rest. But anyway, so yeah, she reveals that to Chase, and apparently he didn't know all of this. And we even see a few times in the movie where she has this little bandana that she had when she was a baby, a little little baby puppy, and she was so cute. Chase and Sky were so cute when they were teeny tiny puppies. They were so cute. But anyway, so once Sky again goes to get her crystal, V ends up capturing her and taking all of the crystals. And V explains some of her backstory, like how people have laughed at her, and how her and Sky are actually kind of similar in a way. And Sky tries to, you know, reveal to her the truth, or, she says, hey, I felt like this too. But V doesn't listen to her and pulls every meteor, I guess, out there, or just about every meteor out there in space to Earth. And I think even Mayor Humdinger asked her about why did she want all those meteors, and she's like, who knows what power any of these meteors have? Who knows what's out there? So apparently she was being greedy and wanted them all, when she actually had all 6 very powerful crystals as it was. So, yeah, that seems to be a really common thing with villains. They get really, really greedy. But anyway, so Mayor Humdinger reminds her of her promise, so she gives him a crystal, and kind of like when he finally got superpowers in the show, he grows to be a giant, but unlike before, he doesn't turn purple. He just gets really, really big. And this is actually something that really, like, stunned me in a way. Well, maybe not exactly stunned, but I don't exactly know how to describe it, but Mayor Humdinger gets really, really big, and once Chase tells Ryder that Sky's gone and the crystals are gone, they go after her once they find out where the crystal is, and Mayor Humdinger shows up and tries to squish them, and he even wrecks an ice cream truck, and Rubble's like, what sick person would destroy an ice cream truck? But that's not the sickest thing that Mayor Humdinger, that is, almost does, because he almost squishes the Paw Patrol. They actually they try to get away from him, and they come to a dead end, and before they can turn around, Mayor Humdinger has got them blocked in. Their back is against the wall, and in front of them is this big giant Mayor Humdinger who is willing to squish them. And I'm like, are you crazy? You're attempting to murder a little boy and 6 pups? I'm like, Mayor Humdinger, what is wrong with you? I'm like, okay, Mayor Humdinger is going from like an annoying, whiny villain to like Scar from The Lion King. And I'm like, you're about to kill a little boy. I'm not sure how old Ryder is now. I do know that he was 10 when the show first started, but apparently some years have gone by. So he's probably older by now. He just doesn't look it. But yeah, he was attempting to kill him and all the main 6 pups. Well, 5 because Sky wasn't there, but it was still 6 because Liberty was there. So I'm like, you should be saying what sick person would do this. But thankfully, the new pups show up, and they help stop Mayor Humdinger. And Marshall gets into Mayor Humdinger's jacket pocket because Ryder realizes that's where the crystal is. And Marshall gets in there, and he gets his powers back. And since he's got his powers, Mayor Humdinger loses his. And Chase even says, Mayor Humdinger, you're going back to jail. And I'm like, yeah, and this time he should be charged for attempted murder. I'm like, what is wrong with Mayor Humdinger? It's like, he will go, he try, that is, to go as far as killing them. I'm like, okay, now I see why this is PG. But thankfully, it's not as scary as I thought it would be. And there's even a image I actually showed in a video. It's actually my second video on this channel where I did a little movie review of what was known at the time, or I guess that was really all that was known at the time. I talked about a little of that, and I even showed the poster, this really nice poster that came out, which is oddly enough the cover of the DVD. And I even showed this image of Chase in this contraption because that's one of the images that had been revealed. But thankfully, Chase actually was never in this creepy contraption in the movie. So I guess that was just a deleted scene because, again, he was never in that thing. In fact, none of the other pups were in any creepy contraption, so that's good. So the pups go to V's hideout, and the three new pups distract her while Zuma turns to water by sneaking into the pipes, and he gives Sky back her crystal, and she breaks free, and the pups keep tossing the crystal back and forth to stop her. It's actually interesting, even though Zuma doesn't get the attention he deserves, and I also made a video on that if you want to go check that out. But Zuma actually becomes this big, like, ball of water, and he has V trapped inside, and he takes their crystals back from her. And I actually have seen where I think people have talked about how he's actually the hero of the movie because he's the one that got the crystals back, and I kind of have to agree with that. Anyway, so the pups finally capture V, and Liberty also discovers that she has elastic powers that she can stretch when she goes to save Chase. And I think elastic powers are good for a Winnie dog. And so, anyway, the meteors are coming to Earth that V was, again, pulling to Earth through because of the crystals. And Sky has to destroy them. And there's even this really big meteor that she has to destroy. And she does it. And that's really it. I don't want to give every single thing away, but yeah, that's really it. But yeah, I think that this is a really good movie, and so sorry that this review is so long. I guess I just have a lot to say about this movie, and I just I just kind of don't really get this thing with Mayor Humdinger. I mean, it is kind of crazy that he would go that far. But what's even more strange is, if I'm not mistaken, he's still in the show, and I believe that they are coming out with episodes that take place after this, and he, for some reason, is in the show. And I really don't understand that because he does go to jail at the end of this movie, just like in the first movie. But since he tried to, well, kill them, I really don't understand why they would let him be in the show, since that's the most drastic thing he's ever done, or, well, tried to do. So, why is he in jail where he belongs? I don't get it. Maybe the show in the third movie might kind of clear things up, I hope, because I really do not understand that at all. But anyway, yes, this is a very good movie, but I think that they didn't really get into the lesson really well, because the lesson apparently is, that you're not too small to make a difference. But Sky actually doesn't learn this until she gets her crystal back, so I kind of don't see what the point of that was. But overall, this is a pretty good movie, and I'm so glad that I finally got to review it. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and stay tuned.